3, 2, 1.
To pursue science is not to disparage the things of the spirit. In fact, to pursue science rightly is to furnish the framework on which the spirit may rise.
Welcome to the Endless Frontiers, your home for all things science, fiction, and science fiction. I'm your host, Jed Morgan, and welcome into another Right or Flight podcast, episode 28. Still, no matter what, we are here once a week, having a great time doing it. We have plenty of things to talk about in the realm of both pop culture and science today, so it should be a good discussion on that front, and we'll see if we get around to the chat choose your own adventure segment of this stream. Looks like not a whole lot of people have showed up quite yet in the stream, and if no one's really around by the point we get there, I think we'll just call it for the week. We'll see how we're doing once we get to that point, of course, though. I don't know if somebody else is streaming, but I'm always happy to hang out for those who watch on the VOD later on. I do see Legatus Legionist, the Mod Supreme, is already watching on both YouTube and Kick. It's great to have you here, my friend. And everybody else who cycles in, I appreciate you watching, whether or not it is on the YouTube or the Kick side. Today's been a little crazy. If you guys haven't seen any news related to Florida, there was actually an earthquake here in Florida today. I did not experience it because I had to take a day trip for work over to Tampa. But my wife here in Orlando, coworkers in Orlando, Disney World reported that the earthquake was felt here in Orlando, which is quite a weird thing. Absolutely a weird thing to have occurred. Apparently, the earthquake itself was north of Cuba in the ocean, and it was like a 6.4, I think, which isn't mild. That's a real earthquake. That's a substantial one. And the shockwaves, of course, came all the way to Orlando. I'm kind of surprised that we in Tampa didn't feel anything at all, but it would have been my first earthquake too, guys. I like to experience new things safely, of course. Like, experiencing my first hurricane here was quite the experience. We, of course, were worried that it'd be worse than it was, overprepared, which you should do, and then it turned out to be nothing, and that's been most of my hurricane experiences. I've been through 4, maybe just 3 hurricanes in the time that I've lived here, at least major ones, and we've gotten lucky every single time. But earthquake, man, an earthquake happens in Florida, and I miss it. You know, at least as far as I can tell, it wasn't bad enough here in Orlando for any damage. My wife was fine. from what I've heard, nothing's really been damaged. Legatus, oh no, did Gorlock break a chair and then fall? It might have been Gorlock. Was Gorlock visiting? I saw Dash on Twitter say it was a Blue Origin test fire gone wrong again. And I appreciated that joke. That was funny. I could see it. Jeff Bezos' new tour blew up and all of Orlando shook as a result. I could definitely see that being the case. How you doing, Legatus, and everybody else who might be lurking? We got a few people coming in. How's everyone doing on this fine Monday evening? Were you anywhere near the earthquake, everyone out there? I know Legatus wasn't, but it's probably warming up in the frozen tundra of the north, Legatus, so you're probably enjoying life right now. Going outside, touching grass, dancing in the sunshine. I'm sure that's what all Canadians do once the snow's fully melted. Which, depending on where you are, it might not quite be melted yet, but I'm sure it is. Most habitable areas of Canada, I'm sure, don't have a whole lot of snow left in June. I do miss snow. I really miss snow, guys. I grew up in Idaho, up in the mountains, snow every year. When I moved to Arizona, there was 2 feet of snow left behind. So it holds such a place in my memory, especially associated with Christmas. Since then, since moving to Arizona, I think I've really seen snow a handful of times, like 2 or 3 times over, at this point, almost a decade, which is so... I love the snow. Growing up, when the snowplow would come along and, make a big pile on the corner of the road, we lived in a small town, I would make such impressive snow tunnels and snow forts with my brothers. We'd hollow out that big pile of snow, had tunnels going through the 2 feet of snow. That way we could go into a hole by our front door and army crawl all the way to our fort at the other end of the block. We were weird. I'm sure that's weird to a lot of people, but it was a hell of a lot of fun to 8-year-olds. We thought it was the greatest thing ever, building snow forts. And the trick is, we never used shovels or trowels or even our hands. We used our feet, that's weird. I actually think that part of it is weird, but it worked so much better. We had a lot more stamina go through it all, and it compacted the sides of our structures enough that helped them, maintain their strength a lot better, made them a lot more reliable. But I don't know if anybody else has some stories about living with snow, growing up with snow. Help me get through the sudden wave of loss that I feel for not having seen snow for a while. I wasn't expecting that to come on all of a sudden and make me sad. But let's see. We can dive into the first topic. Yeah, it looks like something must be going on right now. Either YouTube has decided to fuck me hardcore, or somebody else is streaming right now. This is unusual to have only 2 viewers right now. Maybe I'm on a dark list somewhere. I'm on a naughty list, chat. What did I do, chat? Who did I piss off? Mama Susan's not around anymore. What are we going to call YouTube now? I don't think an official replacement for Mama Susan's been chosen. But whoever it is, Papacito, he's after me. He's after me. He found out that I'm not a flat earther. Oh no, or some stupid shit like that. But we can dive into the first topic. Might as well. A couple days ago, news suddenly broke that the ISS crew was on an evacuation notice. They were told to enter the Dragon capsule in their EMU suits and prepare to evacuate at a moment's notice. This news shocked me. I got very concerned, of course, along with a lot of other people. We don't want these brave astronauts to be in any undue danger. Their job up there is incredibly dangerous, and they're doing such impressive, incredible work for mankind. So we wish them nothing but the best and hope that they made it through. And they did, of course. Within a couple hours, that evacuation notice was lifted and they were able to safely return to the crew components. But now NASA's come out and given us a bit more information on what occurred, why it happened, and where they're at right now, what the current status quo is. So this is from NASA's own website here. NASA provides update on space station leak. The Zvezda, I cannot pronounce that, and I do apologize. The service module's transfer tunnel, known as the PRK, on the International Space Station. So yeah, this is a tunnel between the modules, something like, I guess, you guys can't see my mouse, but something like right off the middle there, I think is what this area might be, something away from the more bulbous areas. The PRK has experienced cracks since 2019, which I don't know if I'd be very happy if I knew that there were consistent cracks since 2019. We later on found out after the initial news that the amount of loss was going from, I think, 1 pound a day, and it doubled to 2 pounds a day, 2 pounds of air pressure, which that's a doubling. That was a doubling effect of air loss. So of course that made them concerned. I hope that they finally go to the effort to fix it all and figure out what the hell's wrong. It's been leaking for 7 years. There is a problem. But these cracks in 2019 have resulted in small atmospheric leaks and prompted ongoing monitoring and repair efforts by Roscosmos. NASA and Roscosmos have worked together to identify the root cause, while Roscosmos, I'm not pronouncing that correctly, and I apologize, have been applying leak mitigation methods, including temporary and permanent sealants. This week of June 1st, during Progress 95 spacecraft cargo operations, Roscosmos noted an increase of the previous leak rate of 2 pounds per day and identified new suspected leaks in the PRK. So that's what I'm talking about. The rate of air loss, oxygen loss, doubled. So yeah, they got quite concerned very, very quickly. We're hearing how they reacted right after that. Following the observation, Roscosmos made the decision to begin work toward a more extensive inspection and structural repair effort Friday morning. This revised approach involved cutting a bracket to better access an area identified as a possible leak source for further inspection, using a method that could have resulted in elevated risk to the structure in the area. So this was yes, it was an evacuation order, but it wasn't a shocking one to the degree that we immediately assumed. They were conducting a repair operation that had the potential to make the leak worse. So they just wanted the crew that wasn't working on the repair to be safe, ready to go at a moment's notice if something really went wrong. But it's not like they had to rush, like, oh my god, we gotta evacuate, red lights blaring, klaxons going crazy. It was a very organized potential evacuation, according to this. In response, NASA directed the 4 SpaceX Crew 12 members and NASA astronaut Chris Williams, who flew the station aboard the S.U.A.C. MS-28 spacecraft, to take a heightened safety posture known as a safe haven inside the SpaceX Dragon spacecraft during the procedure. So that's what I'm talking about. Everyone who wasn't involved in the procedure just took safe haven. This is not the story that we were led to believe. The type of language used when this news initially broke, the news media taking it and acting like this was imminent threat, imminent danger, I gotta be honest, it affected me. I thought they were legitimately in danger, but they weren't. This is a concern with, partially a lack of communication from NASA. They do have higher priorities than worrying about the media in a moment like that, but a lack of communication from them and the inflammatory nature of modern mainstream media. They wanted to make it into a disaster to get clicks, and I should have seen through that. I absolutely should have. Later Friday morning, Roscosmos paused and did not perform the structural repair work in favor of conducting additional measurements and data assessments, which included inspection of suspected areas of interest and review of areas where sealants was previously applied. NASA strongly supported the decision, and as a result, following that decision, Crew 12 and Williams ended their safe haven activities and returned to normal operations aboard the orbiting laboratory. So that repair work hasn't actually been conducted yet. It looks like they're conducting further tests and getting more information before risking it again. So we might get news of them going back to safe haven in the next few days, next few weeks, as they address this problem further, but for right now, everybody's safe, and any reported news of Safe Haven is probably scheduled and not the disaster that the mainstream media might make it out to be. I'm usually a lot better about noticing when the mainstream media is trying to take advantage of my emotions. Honestly, rage bait and bait in a lot of ways that Twitter users do and YouTubers do. I'm I'm honestly usually a little bit better at it. I immediately fell for I saw astronauts in danger, and I guess the logical side of my mind went dormant, and just, I did tweet a very tasteful tweet. I don't think I need to modify the tweet. It wasn't that bad, but it was exaggerated based on the information provided. It was a scheduled safe haven. It was an intended safe haven, not, or get to the airlock now. Get to this dragon. We're evacuating in 5 minutes. It was nothing like that. So, shock of shocks. The mainstream media exaggerated. I know, you're all just blown over. You guys can't imagine something like that being true, I'm sure. Legata said, I've experienced blizzards in every month of the year. Have you really? Blizzards in the summer. Okay, I guess I don't know as much about the Canadian environment as I thought. Legatus, did the chick drill another hole? No, no. There were no additional holes drilled. Apparently, this Russian section of the ISS has had problems for a long time. Maybe it's an extenuation of those initial holes. Maybe she put one in there back in the day, and they're still dealing with the consequences of it. Maybe something like that. Dr. Rachel stopped by saying, "Hey, nerd." Hey, Rachel. Welcome in. Legatus, very organized chaos. Yes, very organized chaos. And welcome in, Dash. Great to have you here. Legatus also said NASA and their need to be in the spotlight. Yes, because NASA's faking emergencies just to be the cool kid. It's like, please keep talking about me. It's a notice me senpai move. Dash, at least it wasn't more space lesbian drama, yeah, with the drilling hole. God, the space lesbian stuff is so funny. And the reported crimes, which have later been disproven. There's some funny stuff with all of that. But yeah, luckily, everybody's safe aboard the ISS. The situation was exaggerated, and there's nothing right now to worry about, which I'm always grateful for. And it just makes me distrust the mainstream media more, if that's possible. I'm just surprised the Access media didn't really jump on it, but they're not really in that vein, so it would have been nice to see the Twitter crazy people freaking out about it. Ginger Norseman, welcome in, saying, good evening, folks. Good evening, Ginger Norseman. You haven't missed much. We've been going for about 15 minutes here. Just got through our first topic. The ISS had a leak a few days ago that, based on how the media reported it, was a disaster. It's like, they've been evacuated to their Dragon capsule. They're 2 seconds away from launching back to Earth and abandoning the ISS. And now NASA's like, yeah, there's been leaks in the same area for 7 years, and the leak got a little bit worse, so we decided to repair the leak, which, was risky, so we had everyone get in the capsule, and then we decided not to do the repairs and go a different direction, so they came back. It was really a non-entity. The way it was reported, though, it felt like the ISS was getting decommissioned forcibly. But no, it was absolutely nothing. And I do feel bad for falling for the mainstream media's bait about that. I really do. You guys deserve better from me. You guys deserve better. And it's not the first time something like this has happened where there's been like a meteor shower that they were worried about, or space debris that they were worried about, that they prepared to evacuate in case they needed to. So yeah, this is nothing new. Not even the most major one. There have been more major ones. I don't know the details about those, but I think there was one in the late 90s that got pretty severe. And yeah, God, don't trust the mainstream media. Legatus, damn it, kicked me. And at that moment, I can't log back in. Kick, I like the ethos of Kick. I like the idea. It looks like it kicked everybody out, so they might be having a legitimate issue. Let me see if I can open my Kick. But Kick is it has a long way to go infrastructure-wise. They are really struggling infrastructure-wise. Let me see. I'm not able to open up my Kick right now either. Yep, Kick is down. So I'm just going to stop streaming to Kick so I don't need to worry about it. Sorry, people who might be coming over to YouTube from Kick. Yes, Kick is down right now. It's not the stream. It's not me. It is Kick itself, which happens fairly regularly. I can't remember the last time YouTube was 100% down. There's been times where, there are connectivity problems, there are bit issues, but I don't remember the last time it was like that, where it's like you can't sign in. Yep, there's nothing you can do. It's 100% down for everyone. Channel not found? Yeah, Kick banned me before YouTube did. That's one thing that I like after the rebrand, is I don't have to worry about getting banned as much. Like, I don't talk about that inflammatory of stuff anymore like I did in my Hollywood Scholar days. Not that I really ever did there, but, like, Prey. If you guys remember my review of Prey, that was just supposed to be a movie review. That wasn't supposed to be inflammatory. That wasn't supposed to be a risky maneuver. It was just my review of Prey. But I used some out-of-date language that, as of 4 months before that, had been labeled as hate speech, even though I'd only ever heard it as a normal term. So I used it as that normal term, meaning it entirely innocuously. It was just purely a factual descriptor in the way that I used it in that review, and I thought I was going to get shut down. Like, I was getting death threats. I'm sure people were flagging the video. The comments were roasting, like, they were vitriolic. It was horrible. That was the worst period I've ever had on the internet. But now, yeah, an occasional flat earther's like, oh, you're so stupid for thinking cameras have settings. Yeah, YouTube's not going to get mad at me for saying that cameras have settings. I'm going to be fine in that sense. So it is nice with the rebrand that I don't fear for my channel, as I never fully feared for it, but there was always that idea that there might be a problem because so many people in the sphere have had issues with their channels getting needless strikes and stuff like that. I've taken myself out of that risk, taken myself out of that equation, and I think I'm better for it. The channel still hasn't quite kicked off yet since the rebrand, which makes sense. Rebrands are difficult. The algorithm has no idea how to handle you, but yeah, I think the channel and myself are much, much better for it. Ginger Norseman, it's a difficult line to toe. The mainstream media blatantly lies, stretches the truth. So when they are being honest or letting the truth slip, you won't believe it. Yeah, it's a boy who cried wolf situation, which happens a lot in our society. I think that is one of the most relevant parables to modern society. It really is. Like, oh, what's an example? I think the environmental cause is a prime example of the boy who cried wolf. I personally, because I understand science to such a strong degree, I mean, I'd say my scientific understanding is above average, nowhere near expert, or I wouldn't even call myself an amateur at it. I'm an enthusiastic science. I'm enthusiastic about science. That's kind of where I'll leave it. That's why in the description of every live stream, every video, in the about section of my channel, I do not claim to be an expert on anything. But I do believe there is some legitimacy to the environmentalist movement. There are ways that we can be better stewards of the planet. We shouldn't pollute unnecessarily. Like, there are plenty of rivers and stuff like that that we're overly polluting, killing a lot of wildlife in that sense. And eventually, the climate can change. There are more mitigating factors and stuff like that, like natural climate change and stuff like that. The medieval warming period is something that people bring up a lot. It's a complicated subject, but there is a foundation of science in there. The problem is when the most vocal people in that movement are dumbasses and psychotic children like, what is his name? Al Gore and Greta Gerwig. They're constantly doomsdaying it, and so many environmentalists are doomsdaying, like, oh, we'll all be underwater in 5 years. 5 years comes around. Oh, we meant 5 years from now. And they just cry wolf so many times. The hole in the ozone layer from the 90s, I believe it was the 90s, and just so many boy who cried wolf that the average person has completely dismissed environmentalism as a whole. So these people who are crazy like Al Gore are doing far more harm than good to the movement, especially when they're hypocritical in the private jets is a common thing, like the celebrities who pretend to be environmentalists and then fly around in private jets, having a carbon footprint bigger than some states. So, and when they don't call out China's environmental footprint compared to how well we're doing and stuff like that, there's so much hypocrisy, boy who cried wolf syndrome, that's devolved the environmental movement into something without merit, or at least seems like it has no merit. And I think that's disappointing because there are things we can do better. There are better things that we need to go to besides fossil fuels because they're finite. That's why I'm a big proponent of nuclear power. I think wind and solar and stuff like that can be useful in certain situations, but they're not as good as they need to be. Like, I do not think we should have wind farms everywhere in the US. That will take up so much acreage, and the amount of output that they give isn't great. The bird situation is not legitimate, in my opinion. The amount of birds killed by windmills in the US, the big industrial windmills, are 160,000 a year, and house cats kill 3 million birds a year. So it's not the bird thing isn't a legitimate counter argument, but it's just not efficient. Square mileage, everything. Hydroelectric is great. Nuclear is great. The problem is cars, trying to figure out the best way to do cars. And electric cars have their own problems with the finite resources made to use their batteries. So it is a difficult situation that I think is due rightful thought and consideration. But when there are so many people crying wolf and being hypocritical at the same time, it's preventing a lot of necessary conversations from happening and changes or plans being taken as legitimate. So yeah, the boy who cried wolf, I think, is horrifyingly relevant to our modern society in a lot of ways. Dash said, Kick got Spectrum. Yes, they did. They haven't upgraded from Spectrum. They're still relying on Spectrum for their servers. That would be funny. Dash, just don't get anger. Jur of Leem. Just don't anger Jur of Leem. Oh. I get the oranges, but the lemons, are the lemons a thing associated with Jeremy now? Jur of Leem. I missed the lore on that one, Dash, I'm afraid. Legatus, I heard on 199 that X took down the GOP's account. Really? Yeah, that's probably not a great thing. I don't get into politics on this platform at all, but I'm not a fan of censorship. That's a big thing that I will talk about. I'm entirely anti bureaucracy. I will not worry about saying how much I fucking hate bureaucracy. And censorship is a big one that I will publicly talk about. But besides that, I try to stay out of politics. Because, yeah, I think science and politics should be separate. And I hate how closely related that people try to make them. So I'm trying to force that divide to happen again. I don't want politics in my pop culture. I don't want politics in my science. So I'm trying to tear it out by not connecting them. They shouldn't be connected. Dash, most climate change activists know as much about the climate as they do about rocket science. Yeah, they don't sound credible, which hurts their arguments so much as well. Legatus, Earth is heading for another ice age, acid rain, heat wave, ozone hole, the sky is falling, Yeah, they go way too far. Yes, there is a noticeable change over the 80 years of cars, for example. But there was coal power before that, the steam era, the coal era from before that wasn't great either. So, yeah, so much doomsdaying, exaggerating. Exaggerating is a huge part of the problem, and the Earth does go through natural cycles. That is something to be considered. There are natural cycles, so are we doing correlation or causation? Because it could be a correlation issue. So, yes, there is a foundation to the science that absolutely should be researched and should be taken into account and people should take seriously, but these people are making it so much harder to do so. Dash, Leem is another low-cow Dermy is juicing. Is that Liam? Is that who you're talking about? Because I know about Liam. I didn't know he'd been labeled as Leem quite yet. I turned off kick. It turned itself back on, so maybe it's back up. I can check kick again. If it keeps coming in and out, though, I won't bother. But yeah, OBS just turned kick back on its own. Alright, I got signed out of kick, but it's coming up to the sign-in page, so it's doing better than it was a moment ago. And oh god, kick requires you to have two-factor authentication, which, as an IT person, I know two-factor authentication is a very good thing, but I still don't want to worry about the hassle. Okay, so it's not even letting me sign in. So yeah, I'm gonna leave that off. I'm sorry if that one person on kick is you, Legatus, but I'm gonna try to keep it off, and hopefully OBS doesn't keep restarting it for me. But alright, let me double check to make sure I haven't missed anything, and then we can move on to the next topic. Alright, we're looking good. We're looking very good. And welcome everyone who's come in since the intro. It's great to have you all here. I think I hope you're all having a fine Monday evening. If you hadn't heard, there was an earthquake here in Florida that I missed. I had to spend the day in Tampa for work, and the earthquake was felt here in Orlando. The earthquake itself was down north of Cuba in the ocean, but it was felt in Orlando, and I missed it, man. It's such a light one here that no one's hurt from what I am aware of. There's no real damage, but they felt it. I wanted to feel my first earthquake, and I didn't. But it's kind of weird, an earthquake in Orlando. Apparently that doesn't happen very often, as far as I'm aware. Dash, on its own, is OBS AI powered and going rogue? Maybe. Maybe it is. The toggle for kick has always been a little weird. Always been a little weird. But we can do the next one. The next one's going to be very, very short. Astronauts are no longer bound by the clumsy, clunky, and entirely unstylish EMU spacesuits of the past. Fashion is being brought into space as astronauts will now wear Prada. Yes, you heard that right. Perhaps as an answer to The Devil Wears Prada 2. It's not. There is a collaboration between Axiom and Prada in the next generation of AX AMU suits. We have this article here from space.com. It's very aesthetically pleasing. No shit. Prada and Axiom just revealed the stylish cooling suit Artemis astronauts will wear under their spacesuits on the moon. So yes, Axiom is developing their new AX EMU suits that will be worn by the Artemis 4 and 5 astronauts when they land back on the moon. We knew Axiom was working on it, and there were rumors that Prada was working with them. So Axiom will be building the actual EMU, you know, the famous part of it, the outside part of it, but the inner suit that is worn by the astronauts before they slide into the EMU will be designed by Prada. Let's see if we can get a better look at the suit. So this is a way that you can see. So Axiom is designing this, and Prada designed that. It's a little cooling system, probably has biometric meters and stuff like that to monitor the astronauts' health. But fashion is coming to space. Isn't that so stylish, chat? It's just so stylish. We can't go up into space without looking our best. Dressed to the nines, babe. I have no idea how to talk like a fashionista, in case you didn't know. But it is kind of funny. Devil Wears Prada comes out. Devil Wears Prada 2 comes out. And within a month, we find out that the astronauts will wear Prada as well. Yeah, that's the whole story. I just thought it was funny. I really thought it was just funny that the astronauts are going to wear Prada now. It's so, like, if it works, it works. That's fine. If they really made a product that works well with Axiom, great, no problems with it. But if they did it just to say, ooh, we're fashionable, so fucking dumb. So dumb. But I'm sure it's functional. I'm sure they did a good job. I'm sure they were chosen for legitimate reasons. Only a little bit of sarcasm in that. Dash said Prada. They don't trust the maniacs at Balenciaga. I hope I pronounced that right. Apparently not. No Ralph Lauren's. No Bloomingdale's. This tells you how much I know about fashion. But I can't think of a single other high fashion brand. I am one of those adults who probably the most common item in my wardrobe are basketball shorts. I fucking love basketball shorts. They're comfortable, they're fine. I don't wear them outside of the house a whole lot, but I'm wearing essentially basketball shorts right now. I'm wearing actually my PT shorts from the Air Force, the PT uniform. But yeah, in general, I'm probably wearing basketball shorts. Maybe jeans, maybe jean shorts, not like jean shorts, you know, like the cargo shorts. That's what I wear. That tells you how much into fashion I am. T-shirts and basketball shorts are my go-to. I'm clearly the expert on all things fashion, so you should all listen to me. Maybe I'll start a fashion channel and tell you guys all how to dress to the nines, get everyone on their top game. You know, people in tuxes will be jealous of those who are dressed by my fashion channel. Clearly an expert in that. All right, you should all be listening to me. Well, what do you guys think? Do you guys think that was a publicity stunt more than anything else? Or did Prada legitimately make a good product? Of course, Axiom's going to say that Prada did a great job and that it's exactly what they needed. But I doubt that a teeny weeny bit. Because they just don't have experience and stuff like this. Because it's more than just the material. There are the cooling tubes and stuff like that. So I feel like it is surprising someone who's for a company that's never made stuff like this to make this and be the chosen option. You'd think it was somebody, company that specialized in stuff like this would make the best product. Dash said Jed has to wear one of those reflective silver spacesuits when he goes outside in the sun. I mean, you're not wrong. I should. I'm way too white. I've gotten sunburned in the shade. I got a 2nd degree sunburn in the mountains of Utah in the shade. And I'm not talking like, scattered tree cover. I'm talking under an actual overhang. Like, made of, what is that shit called? Aluminum. An aluminum roof overhang, and I still got sunburn. Dash, they don't like the SpaceX suits. Apparently not. The NASA program loves SpaceX when it comes to satellites, of course, their communications. I'm hoping that they eventually go over, and Starship especially. They really love Starship and the Dragon capsule. But besides that, they really don't use SpaceX. They're not using the SpaceX suits, which I think look great. The SpaceX suits look phenomenal. Obviously, they're not primed for a moon landing. They're not made for that. So maybe the Axioms are just specialized in that sense. They're not using the lunar lander that SpaceX offered to make, which I think, should be reconsidered right now after the potential delay of the Blue Origin lunar lander, Blue Moon, that was caused by the New Glenn rocket exploding. They have a new a test fire or test launch of New Glenn in September, I think. And if all goes well with that, they'll still be on schedule. But I really doubt it. If they had that big of an explosion, that big of a failure, that will be very difficult to find the root cause of, with how little was left. The debris was just so scattered. I don't think they're going to fix the New Glenn by September. I don't think they can. And then NASA's really going to have to change its mind or delay Artemis 4. Hey, delay Artemis 3 even, because Artemis 3 is about testing the lander docking procedures. It's so... Get the SpaceX one. And Dash, yeah, you're saying maybe SpaceX will just buy Axiom after all the IP money rolls in. Dude, that's actually one thing that I was going to talk about in a minute briefly. The SpaceX IPO is absolutely insane how high it's being rated. because of Starlink, most especially. And I'm just blown away. I actually looked up how much it would cost for me to buy some stock in it because I have a couple stocks. I don't go crazy. I had nearly a 50% increase on my investment. So I feel like I've done pretty good in those little investments, made 50% return, a 50% return. I think that's pretty good. But the SpaceX buy ahead stocks that are available in a lot of services were at $169 and they don't sell partial shares yet. So I'm going to wait till it's actually live, which is Thursday, I believe, to look at that again to see if I can get some partial shares because I don't want to spend that much money right now on shares, especially because it's going to be at the highest it's going to be for a while right now. Like there's going to be some fluctuations. There's obviously going to be some dips at some point. Even successful companies, it's a wave. It might be an upward moving wave, but there will be waves. So maybe I can try to get something when there's a bit of a down wave and invest a little there because I am invested in the future of SpaceX. I do think the future is bright for them, that they're making some incredible products and paving the way for Mars. It's time we went to fucking Mars. I'm sorry, but I think it's time. We're getting ready. If we can make a moon base this seriously, have these conversations about a moon base, we're on the track to Mars. Hopefully the moon base goes well. It's a great next step. But yeah, we need to get to fucking Mars. It's time. I was gonna talk about the SpaceX stuff more, but I just kind of covered it all there. Yeah, SpaceX IPO is going live on Thursday, and it's gonna be massive. Like the what is the rating for it right now, or the potential rating? SpaceX plans to raise at least 75 billion in its IPO by selling 55 million shares at 135 apiece. That's gone up, valuing the company at more than $1.75 trillion. This is $1 trillion company. I wouldn't have called it $1 trillion. That's insanity. That's insanity. So, yeah, this whole idea that people were trying to say, Elon Musk is gonna steal your 401ks to make SpaceX stay afloat. Y'all are fucking retarded. There's no need to do so when it's days away, looking like it's gonna come out to up to 85 billion raised with that. It was valued below 200 billion just recently. That tells you what the analysts know. These numbers are bafflingly large. Obviously, I'm not a financial expert. Don't take financial advice from me. Don't even consider taking financial advice from me. I'm just blown away by these fucking numbers. And it looks like these numbers are so large that the Dow might be affected, that the stock exchange is preparing for the insanity of Thursday, and a lot of major stock companies are selling stock in other companies to buy up more SpaceX. And that makes it feel a little artificially inflated, but if they believe in it to this degree, I think it's going to meet that evaluation and blow people away. Yeah, people thought it would do poorly because, oh my god, I hate Elon. He's lying about everything. He's stealing our money. He's just covering up that he's a dumbass, and none of his stuff actually works. Yeah, none of his stuff works. He has reusable fucking rockets. He has Starship, which is fucking massive. His SpaceX company is about to be rated at $1.75 trillion. Sit the fuck down. Even if you hate his guts for some inexplicable reason, which is fine, I don't give a shit. Stop lying to yourself and to the world. Elon is incredibly well successful. You know, there's so much self-delusion on the internet these days, like Star Wars stands and everything like that. They just hate Elon, so they have to make up reasons why he's failing. At least when we hate on Disney Star Wars, we look at the box office and we're like, yeah, budget, box office, take home. Oh, no profit. We have evidence. They just make up shit like, he's gonna steal your 401ks. Get your pensions out. He's gonna steal everyone's pensions. What's your evidence? My cats told me. Fucking idiots. Yeah, she started SpaceX after nobody would sell him rockets for a greenhouse on the moon in 2001. He kind of wrote The Martian first. Did he inspire The Martian? That's pretty cool. But yeah, he started SpaceX back 2001, 2002, and it might be the best decision of his career. Yes, PayPal was the launching platform for him, made him a ton of money, was a great company for him to get off the ground and sell. Tesla has been very reliable for him over the years. I don't own a Tesla. I don't intend on owning a Tesla. I'm not against them, but you know, I think they're overpriced, but I'm not an expert in that field at all. SpaceX and Starlink. But yeah, he's eventually going to get so much money back on that investment. Oh my god, especially when there are legitimate colonies on Mars, mining operations out in the solar system. He's gonna make a bazillion dollars. Yeah, he's about to be the first trillionaire. Yeah, he's gonna be 100 trillionaire with SpaceX someday, maybe. That's obviously an exaggeration. I don't actually believe that. But yeah, he's gonna get oogles of money, and SpaceX is only gonna grow over the next decade or a few decades. Dash, they were afraid he'd catch them stealing because they were. Yeah, it's pretty common. Accuse your enemy of what you're doing yourself. It's a very common tactic. All right, there's one last thing I want to talk about before we see if we're going to do the chat choose your own adventure. Because yeah, I decided the chat choose your own adventures, they're not, this isn't because of what happened last week, I swear. Last week was hilarious and soul crushing, but it was hilarious. When there's not a whole lot of people chatting, chat choose your own adventure, it does feel kind of boring, I think. There's not a lot of interaction. I rely on the dice, and the stories don't usually come out very well. Even, I'm not talking about super chats, not talking about that at all. Like last week, you guys were so active in the chat. You guys were great, and that's what made that section so much fun. But if there's one or two people in the chat and they're not saying much, and I'm doing chat choose your own adventure, it doesn't feel beneficial to anybody involved. So I think I will consider each week whether or not I do chat choose your own adventure based on the interest of chat and the activity of chat. Just you guys chatting is what makes it fun. So yeah, when there's a small audience, I'll consider not doing it. So we'll see if we make it to the chat choose your own adventure right after this topic. Of course, we talked about it yesterday on the Roundtable on the Renaissance Nerds channel, but the box office this week is incredible. It's an incredible thing to see. The new Scary Movie, a parody film, is #1 at the box office. I absolutely love more genres than superheroes doing well at the domestic box office. Scary Movie is already in profit after its first weekend and has so much more to go. I don't intend on seeing it because I only like really the first movie and enjoy clips from the other movies, so it's not made for me, but I'm so happy for those who enjoy this type of stuff, who've gone out to see it and loved it. Masters of the Universe is a little disappointing with how much it's fallen, and it's made, I think, almost 60 million worldwide on a 200-ish million budget. It's flopping hard. It is bombing hard, and from all accounts, it's inoffensive, absolutely inoffensive, doesn't deserve this treatment, but there were so many things stacked against it, and ultimately it's going to fail. Still, Backrooms Obsession doing incredibly well. I don't know what the hell the Amazing Digital Circus is. I've got zero clue what that is, but of course it's dominating over Star Wars, The Mandalorian and Grogu, which had another 59% drop. This film is going to lose so much money. Dash, we need enough people to fight over it. Fight over what? I don't remember what we were talking about. Yeah, sorry. Welcome in, Algrim the Strong, saying Red Jed Redeemer returns. Yes, I've returned. Legatus, where is Project Hail Mary currently on the charts? So, Project Hail Mary, it's been taken out of most of its theaters, if not all. So, it's not all. Oh, it's right here. It's 14th place, I think. Let's see, what is that? No, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So, it's in 18th place. And yeah, it's practically out of theaters. It made 400,000 this week. It's only in 291 theaters after the initial over 4,000 it was in. So yeah, Project Hail Mary is entirely done at this point. It made bank. It made some good profit to justify its existence, but yeah, it's pretty much done now. But the reason I wanted to talk about box office wasn't to rehash what we talked about on Roundtable. Dash, more people to fight over right or flight. Ah, okay, yeah. And stop you from running wild with your Vagicals plot. Yes, we do need more people fighting in chat about that. That's what makes Chat Choose Your Own Adventure fun. But the reason I wanted to talk about the box office, because it was the best way as a platform to open this discussion. I actually went to go see Obsession last night. I know it's in its 4th week, so I'm late on it, but, a lot of people were. This is the first time the box office has dipped since it came out. But yes, I saw Obsession last night. It deserves this money. I can say that wholeheartedly, unequivocally, it deserves more. It was an incredibly well-written film, and most importantly, a well-acted film. The actress who plays Nikki, which is the girl who has the wish done against her, honestly, that is an Oscar-winning performance. A $20,000 Oscar-winning performance. If she's not in this discussion, there's no way that the Oscars can be taken seriously. Of course, they have no legitimacy right now anyway, but they absolutely will not if they do not nominate her for an Oscar. It's one of the best performances I've seen in years. As much as I love Project Hail Mary and still prefer it over Obsession, he deserves the Oscar over Ryan Gosling. Ryan Gosling did a fantastic job, but he was Ryan Gosling a lot of the time, and it worked so well for that movie. I don't feel like he really stretched his acting muscles for that movie. Did a great job, of course. She blew me away. Absolutely blew me away. I do have to say, I don't watch a lot of horror movies. I'm just not interested in the genre. Nothing against it. Nothing at all against it. I normally prefer the horror movies that have a strong psychological element, thriller element. This absolutely had this, but I'm going to admit something here that y'all might call me a pussy for and, make fun of me, point and laugh, and please do so. I deserve it. This is the first horror film that I've ever seen to actually get to me, actually affect me beyond just jump scares. Everyone gets affected by the occasional jump scare. Like, this movie legitimately freaked me the fuck out in a couple instances. It did its job so well. I think part of it was because I've been doing very well with my diet right now. I've been eating very healthy for the last few months. I've actually lost 12 pounds in the last 2 months, in the last month. So I've been doing really well with my health. But I pigged out on movie theater popcorn last night, and so I think a combination of feeling sick from that and such a good horror film left me a little shaken, if I'm being honest. A little shaken from it. It was incredible. I can't speak highly enough about how good this film was and how much it deserves all the success it's getting, and I will be looking forward to Anything But Ghost, the next film by this director that's set in the same universe as Obsession, with some cameos and some more information about the periphery story of that universe. Starring Aaron Paul and Dallas Bryce Howard. So he got a real cast for his second film, which is incredibly impressive. I wish he could work with this actress again, but if you've seen the film, you know that it doesn't make sense. And no, that's not a spoiler. Don't leap to any conclusions based on the fact that it doesn't make sense for her to be in another film. But yeah, this film, incredibly well written, even better performed, great cinematography, great lighting. That was the thing that really surprised me, is the lighting for this film. was the way that they used it. So the Nikki, she was not possessed. He said it wasn't ghosts or demons to the director, but she was kind of possessed after the wish to make her love the main character more than anybody in the world. And there was a absolute delineation between her original personality and the new freaky deaky one. And there was times that it would go back and forth, right? And when she was in her creepiest moments, she would stand completely in shadow sometimes. And in a few of those moments, she got uncanny valley prosthetic makeup on to just like you can't quite see her face, but it looks fucked up and it's just very creepy in that sense. Those weren't the parts that, bothered me. But yeah, the makeup and the lighting made her terrifying. Like, I've seen Halloween movies, I've seen slasher films, I've seen a horror friend of mine. He loves horror. He told me The Witch was the scariest movie he's ever seen. I watched that. Had no issues with any of these villains. She was the scariest movie monster that I've ever seen. I haven't seen all the goats. I haven't seen all the best. But yeah, if you haven't seen Obsession and are remotely interested in the genre, I highly, highly recommend it. Thank you all for not making too much fun of me. I appreciate it. That was a very vulnerable moment for me. I bared my soul to you. I admit it. I was pathetic. But yeah, that movie's it. I keep saying it's so good, but it really is. People aren't exaggerating online when they talk about it. Not in the slightest. Dash, The Witch was disturbing, but not scary. Yeah, when I saw it, I was like, dude, I told you I've never been scared by a horror film before. Give me your scariest one. And yeah, The Witch didn't do it. The Witch really didn't do it. So I felt like I was let down by that recommendation. It was a good film. I like a lot of Robert Eggers' films, especially his recent ones like The Northman and what was the other recent one he did? He did Nosferatu. I really love both of those. I need to see The Lighthouse. I haven't seen The Lighthouse, but The Witch was good. The Witch was very, very good. And I'm a big fan of Anya Taylor-Joy, so plenty of things to enjoy in that film for me. I actually think she's pretty hot. No one else seems to, but I do. I absolutely do. Has anybody else in the chat seen Obsession yet? I know a lot of you guys don't go to the movies anymore, which I feel bad about that. I get why you guys don't go to the movies, but I can't imagine writing off movies because I love the movie theater experience. I love getting my popcorn. I love being engrossed with the crowd, enjoying a film, like with Obsession and Project Hail Mary, just being all united in enjoying this. It's incredible, an incredible experience. And during the worst era of Hollywood over the last few years, I still got that experience by watching classic movies. A lot of these theaters, because I had to, played older movies, so I'd go to those movies and I'd still get that experience. Like I watched Alien in the theaters. That was great seeing Alien in the theaters and seeing a couple other old movies. I need to watch more. I need to keep up with the schedule. The ones playing in my local theater for the next few months aren't ones that I'm even remotely interested in, but I'm hoping that they'll play some more coming up that I'm into. Because yeah, those tickets are usually a lot cheaper as well. I was lucky last night for Obsession. My wife and I, we got tickets and popcorn and a drink for $22. Like we had membership deals, stuff like that, so we were able to get it incredibly cheap. But I know that isn't the usual. So when there is an opportunity to have a $5 classic movie night, I want to jump on that. I absolutely, because I miss so many of these movies, partially for being so young and partially for not being allowed to watch movies, so many movies growing up. I missed a lot of these classics, even the ones from the 2000s and 2010s that I would have loved to have seen. So I want to get a theater experience for Lord of the Rings. I want to get a theater experience for Independence Day. I want a theater experience for Casablanca. I want to see all these great films as they were intended to be seen, how so many of you guys saw it. So it's homework for me as much as anything else. Algrim said, mayhaps when they allow high-end whiskeys in theaters. They do. Algrim, they do. There's so many of the theaters I go to these days have bars. Actually, both my local one and the Universal one we go to a lot, they both have bars. And I think it was the Universal one had the, I'm going to mispronounce it, and I really apologize, the Edredauer, I used to have the pronunciation down, algorithm. I'm sorry. But the whiskey that you got me, I actually checked and they had that one. So yeah, theaters have high-end whiskeys these days. They have legitimate bars. And honestly, their prices haven't been anything insane. Fairly normal bar prices. I normally don't, buy high-end top shelf whiskey from a bar. Because if I'm going to spend that much, I want the whole bottle at home. And, obviously pay more. But, I want that at home. But Edredauer, I got it. Nice! I thought I butchered the hell out of it. Legatus, I've not seen a movie in the theater since 2017. Oh, man, that was a long time ago, man. What movie was it? There are so many good movies that are coming out. Project Hail Mary, Obsession, the classic movies like I was talking about. I love the theater experience, and it's making a comeback. A lot of people of my generation love it, and we're not interested in the gimmicks. Like, we don't care that they're putting in pathetic arcades. We don't care about the dining options. My generation is showing up and bringing theaters back, and I love that. I've never been so proud of my generation. Normally, I'm not proud of my generation in the slightest, but when it comes to this, I'm proud that we're making an effort to keep theaters alive, to keep that experience alive, to watch good new movies and great old movies. Algrim, I would have thought it was longer than 2017. Yeah. That 2017 was a while ago, though. That's 9 years. 9 years. I can't imagine going 9 years without going to the movies. Like, if I go 2 months, I'm like, you want to go to the movies, babe? Yeah, what's playing? I don't know. Let's just figure it out. Let's go to the movies. Like, after 2 months, I start to really long for that experience. Legatus, Force Awakens, Last Jedi, that was it. I had it, and before that, it was the Lord of the Rings films. You didn't enjoy the Lord of the Rings films? Is that what you're saying? I hope you're not saying that. Those films are incredible. But, yeah, I understand the Force Awakens and Last Jedi killing Star Wars or Disney or stuff like that, but theaters, it's not theaters' fault that Hollywood makes those movies. There's still value to be had in modern theaters, in my mind at least. But let me see. There might be some 007 news we can check out. Seems okay. Good. An Amazon game boss was asked about the future of 007 First Light franchise. The game has sold over 3 million copies. We already knew that, which is getting it close to profit, but still a ways off because they doubled the budget a week ago. They're like, oh yeah, we'd said 100 million for a long time. It's actually 200 million. That's not great. But based on this, it seems like a sequel should be made. And Amazon is happy with how they partnered with IO. So I hope the reports that Amazon Games would be making any sequel, not IO, aren't true. So I really hope they let IO make another one because I am loving 007. My wife's going to be out of town a lot this week, so I'm going to be streaming it most nights this week and having a hell of a lot of fun with it. So I hope they let IO keep making them. But Amazon likes to consolidate. They like to be the best. They like to be doing everything. They don't care if they break it and leave it in the gutter for years like Stargate. Ginger Norseman, I've still got a chunk of films to look forward to this year. Spider-Man Disclosure Day, Dune, Godzilla -1. Godzilla -1, or -0, excuse me. Godzilla -1 was incredible. I'm looking forward to -0. Spider-Man, I'm not as jaded about it as Adam. I think I might enjoy it. Maybe not that it's good, but I think I'll enjoy it. So I'm looking forward to Spider-Man. Not looking forward to Supergirl. Dune, I know those first two movies, part 1 and part 2, were very well liked. I didn't care for them, so I'm not looking forward to 3, but I'm very happy for the people who are enjoying those films, want to see them. I know Adam hates them from a diehard book fan, but yeah, I just don't have a whole lot of interest in it. Disclosure Day, I'm very split on, and this is a question that's actually best posed to you guys. So, Disclosure Day, I don't trust Spielberg. I think he lost his magic after Minority Report. Minority Report and maybe Lincoln are the two movies that I think had the last dregs of Spielberg magic. I think he's entirely lost it, and I don't like the marketing. Like, oh, we're gonna prove to people that UFOs are real, that aliens are real. Christians will have to question their religion and their faith after seeing Disclosure Day, and the trailers just aren't speaking to me. So I'm not looking forward to Disclosure Day. However, with what my channel is focused on sci-fi and talking about conspiracy theorists occasionally like I do, it makes a lot of sense for me to review it. So the question posed to you guys, would you guys want me to review Disclosure Day? I don't have a ton of interest in it, but if you guys wanted me to, I'll absolutely do it. It's just, if there's interest, I'll do it. It might be just as negative as I expect it to be, and I'm going in with a bias, fully admitting that, but it is right in line with my channel, so it kind of makes sense. I think it makes sense. Ginger Norseman, those are the ones you could think of off the top of your head. I think there are a couple other films coming out this fall. I want to see Doomsday. It's going to be a disaster. It's going to be terrible, but I want to see Doomsday. I want to see that failure. Legata said, those were the last 5 films I saw in theaters. Oh, okay. Those were the... You've really only seen 5 films this century in theaters, Legatus? Oh, no. After the joy of Lord of the Rings, I tried Disney Stars. That killed it for me. That's practically 5 films this decade. Or, this century. That's hilarious, man. Ginger Norseman, wish I saw MK2 in cinema. The film was great for a video game adaptation, so much better than the first. I thought the first one was fine. I need to watch the second one. I heard great things about it, so I'm absolutely interested. Algrim, if they ever release the three-quarter hour version of Project Hail Mary into the theaters, you can bet I'll go then and watch it at home the next day. Did you enjoy... Oh, yes, you did enjoy Project Hail Mary, Algrim. I remember you talking about how much you loved it. Yeah, I thought that film was incredible. Adam thought it was okay. It's not really his genre. It's not really up his alley. But I loved Project Hail Mary. So if the 4-hour cut is real and happens, I'd watch that in theaters another 6 times and buy it and watch it at home. I have a crack-like addiction to Project Hail Mary. Don't deny it. I've listened to the book 3 times in the last month or 2. And of course, I'd read it years ago before. And yeah, to answer your question, Ginger Norseman, I see later on. Yes, there was initially the assembly cut was nearly 4 hours long that they showed to a bunch of people in the industry and stuff like that, and they were told to cut it. So yeah, there's practically an hour and a half of near finished footage on the cutting room floor. I think they could do a director's cut. Whether or not they put it in theaters, a director's cut should be within the realm of possibility. Apparently, they have enough footage to make a 6-hour cut. I don't think they'll do that because that'll involve a lot more CGI and stuff like that. But from what they've said, the 4-hour cut was done enough to show people, which means it probably wouldn't take much more money to finish. And I want that 4-hour cut. There's stuff missing in the book. I want to see Antarctica get nuked, okay? For those of you who don't know the book, they nuke Antarctica in the book. And it makes sense. They do it for a very, very good reason. They should do it. But I want to see it, man. That's one of the biggest scenes that I didn't get in the movie that I really wish. So yeah, I'm ready for a mini-series that they use the rest of the footage and turn into. I'm ready for whatever they want to do. Just give me more Project Hail Mary, and I will be a happy, happy man. Ginger Norseman. I can't remember the last Spielberg film I watched. Yeah, when was the last one I watched? I saw the BFG. I saw Ready Player One, which was fun, but it wasn't good. What was the one he did last? I think he did The Color Purple a couple years ago. Or maybe he did the original one. But yeah, I think he's lost his magic. I think he really has. Ginger Norseman, yeah, do a review. Dash saying it does make sense. All right. All right, I'll figure out doing a review. That's this weekend, right? So, yeah, I can figure it out. Like I said, my wife's out of town. I think it comes out June 12th. So, yeah, I can go see it on my own and get a review pumped out. That could be my video for next week. I'll do it. I'll do it because you guys asked. Dash, what about Ridley Scott's The Dog Stars? I don't know about Ridley Scott's The Dog Stars. I have no idea what that is, not even the slightest. But I don't know if you guys heard Ridley Scott's next film has been announced. It's going to be a Treasure Island adaptation starring Hugh Jackman as Long John Silver. So it's an interesting new direction for Ridley Scott. We'll see. Algrim's telling Ginger Norseman it exists, but it's not yet available. Yeah, I need it to happen. I need it. At 6 hours, I'm in Algrim. Oh yeah, I'm in for a 10-hour cut. It doesn't matter. I will sit in the theater for the 6-hour cut. Algrim, that's 2.5 Lawrence of Arabia films. Is it really? I thought Lawrence of Arabia was longer than that. I love Lawrence of Arabia. We did it for Drive-In about a year ago, maybe less than a year ago. I think it's a great film. Ginger Norseman, my mate got me the book for my birthday. Can't wait to get sucked into it. Okay, so the Project Hail Mary book. I slightly prefer the book, but they're so close. The movie is one of the best adaptations of a book that I've ever seen. Like, they did an incredible job, especially capturing the magic, even adding some stuff. So like the centrifuge for the Project Hail Mary ship works slightly differently. It you know how in the ship in the movie the crew compartment pulls out like this and then goes like this and then it spins like that. In the book, it's two parts like this that go like that, and this side flips around the nose and then they spin around like that. I think it makes a lot more sense in the movie because it flattens out the wall and makes a ton of floor space in the movie. So there are a few things that I think the movie actually does better. There are things it does differently, especially at the beginning. It's funny. I don't think this is a spoiler. The movie, he wakes up, walks around the ship, and then am I back? I'm back. All right, sorry about that, guys. We got Spectrum blipped a little bit. If you didn't hear Ginger Norseman, I think you're going to enjoy the book a lot, and please let me know what you thought when you're done with it. Dash, they could just use Blue Origin testing footage as the stand-in for nuking Australia or Antarctica. Maybe they could. Dash, The Dog Stars is a post-apocalyptic film. Really? That's wild. Algrim, 4 hours. Lawrence was 4 hours. Okay. But I'm back. Great. All right, so yeah, I think we're coming near the end of the news discussion segment. How do you guys feel about Chat Choose Your Own Adventure? I think I'm going to definitely pose it to everybody every week, if nothing else. But I mean, it's great to have you guys here. I'm happy to keep going, but if we're not feeling it, if we're not in the mood, if there's not enough people chatting, we can skip it. I don't think the Chat Choose Your Own Adventure is a requirement. But it's entirely up to you guys. If you guys want to chat about it, try to figure out crazy ways to change the story, it's entirely up to you guys. Let me see. And Ariel or Biggles aren't here to throw wrench in the works, so it won't go too crazy. To be fair, last week, no one made that go crazy. It went crazy on its own. It wasn't anybody's fault, which sucks because I like blaming whoever it is, like Ariel. for the Mafia Penguins. I like it. Ginger, I enjoy it. Interesting to see a writer at work. Great. Algrim, I'll have to participate now. Dash, I'm always willing to help torture Jed, but it's more fun to have a lot of help. So it seems like you guys are active in the chat, so let's do it. Let's dive into the Chat Choose Your Own Adventure segment of this stream right after a quick word from the sponsor of today's stream, Plotter. This video is sponsored by Plotter. Every writer knows the drill. Staring at a blank page, characters ghosting you mid-plot, timelines unraveling like a bad sweater. That endless loop of what happens next, sucking the joy out of your story. I lived it. Outlines and chaos, competing storylines driving me mad. For the longest time, my notes were thick, blocked-out paragraphs, and my outlines were never-ending bullet points that stretched for more pages than my first drafts. Then I found Plotter, my plotting lifeline. Visual timelines that snap into place, drag-and-drop scenes to tame the wildest arcs, character sheets that keep everyone on track. It turned my latest novel, a 200,000-word juggernaut with multiple character perspectives and solar systems worth of lore, into an easy-to-understand, trackable project, complete with the series Bible, multi-track storylines, and lore documents that make world-building a breeze. And check out their latest feature, a seamless note-taking system for all those story and character ideas that don't have a home yet. Available for free to all users of the Plotter app. For pro users, your notes and files will automatically sync across devices with cloud storage. If you're tired of the plot purgatory, use my link or scan the QR code to get Plotter for life with a single payment of $150. Your epic won't write itself, but with Plotter it'll flow like never before. Link in the description. Let Plotter help you conquer your stories. Welcome to the Chat Choose Your Own Adventure segment of this stream, where you, the chat, with a combination of dice rolls, help me plot out a short story. They're weird, they're wacky, but they're always fun, and the goal is for me to make them as sound as possible. I'm still trying to make a good story in the midst of the chaos, and despite how crazy last week was with the Vagicals, I think I still made an interesting story, one that wasn't completely a disaster. It might have been a disaster for my soul and my sanity, but there was plot. There was actually plot. There were character arcs. I made it work. So there are several sections in these notes here for genre, lead character setting, wild card, and theme, stuff like that. I'll roll a dice to pick an option from there. And highest super chat starting at $1 can override any dice roll, making it whatever you want it to be. You're not restricted to the options in these categories. Help me make something entertaining for all of you. Algorithm, that's saying that's genius for you, Dash. Yeah, Dash really likes to torture. It's a big brain moment. Legatus, a female doctor discover a boy with sensitivity, aka Moonchild, and how their love developed. That's... I don't know what inspired that. That's... I don't know how to respond to that, Legatus. Is that a reference to something? That's funny. Alright, so our options as always are, for genre, science fiction, fantasy, mystery, thriller, horror, romance, parody, and chat choice. For all the chat choices, those are free spaces where you guys can just throw out in the chat what answer you want it to be. Again, not restricted to the options here. And I'll try to glean some sort of consensus from all of you guys, and we'll move forward with that. So let's roll for the genre. 5. Okay, it's a parody, so whatever you guys want it to be the parody for, please let me know. That's kind of a pseudo chat choice as well, so we'll see what makes sense with the later on dice rolls. For lead character, we have father, sniper, filmmaker, blacksmith, monster hunter, and chat choice. 4. Okay, we have a blacksmith. Algorithm saying Legatus's early life. Legatus tis based on a true story, maybe. Dr. Rachel nudge nudge wink wink. Okay, so a female doctor discovers a boy who's white as shit, aka Moonchild. Okay, I see where you were inspired. I get it. Quite like my own love story. Alright, lead character, blacksmith in a parody. Setting, our options are present day, past, future, non-human world, alternate universe, and chat choice. 5, alternate universe, which usually ends up being alternate timeline. For theme or style, we have passing the torch, fate, grief, hubris, acceptance, and chat's choice. 2, fate. Okay, so right now we have a parody about a blacksmith in an alternate universe with the theme of fate. Alright, for wild card, we have... Did I already do sharks? I just suddenly realized sharks have been a wild card before. What am I should replace this real quick. Wild card. Because I just looked over and saw nuking Antarctica, I'm gonna put a nuke there. Alright, our options are nuke, wings, action figures, nachos, fedora, and chat choice. Dr. Rachel saying, sorry, I'm not active right now, not feeling very well. Help him write a crazy story, chat. Yeah, Dr. Rachel's not doing great right now. I'm actually going to go pamper the shit out of her after I'm done here for letting me spend a couple hours with you guys, get massages, medicine. We'll put on whatever movie she wants. I'll find her snacks. I'm gonna pamper the shit out of my wife when we're done here. So let's not go too long with this one. Let's see how quickly I can make this work. But for wild card, let's see what we have. 3, action figures. Alright, until any super chats come in, we have a parody about a blacksmith in an alternate universe with the theme of fate and action figures. Algrim saying, physician, heal thyself, and blessings for sin. Yeah, doctor, heal yourself. Jeez. Wasting everybody's time. I'm obviously kidding, chat. Alright, I gotta figure out what the hell to do. Alright, parody. Alright, parody. Blacksmith. Dash, the blacksmith makes action figures / golems. Ooh. That's a really good one. Whoa, I pressed the wrong button there. That's really interesting. Oh, I did not erase all of these. It's not that big of a deal. I have to do this anyway. Alright, last one. Action figures. Alright, so what could this be a parody of? Could be a parody of a genre, could be parody of a certain thing. I really like that. Yeah, Blacksmith makes the action figures that are basically golems. Or similar. Golems are out of clay, but yeah, the blacksmith making them, I like the idea of that. Ambassador? Okay, Dr. Rachel. What could it be? Well, Gremlins is already kind of a parody. Algorithm, ironic parameters, my family heritage and heraldry are based on blacksmithing. Hell yeah. I love blacksmithing, the idea of it. Like, whenever I was a kid, we'd roleplay cowboy towns. We did that a lot, Wild West towns. I would be the blacksmith. I was always, growing up, I loved the idea of being a blacksmith. And Dr. Rachel actually has some blacksmithing experience. She's used forges. She's made jewelry using that. Not quite anything sword related, but she'd love to get a good forge to make swords. think my mic just got really quiet all of a sudden. Let me check that. You guys don't need to see those, so no, that's right. Am I just talking quieter? Maybe I am just talking quieter, so I'll try to raise my volume a little bit. Alright. So yeah, we got that. I'm trying to figure out the alternate universe aspect of it. And the parody. Fate will come easily. But it sounds like you guys are happy with these dice rolls. Good on this then? Okay, so you guys can still hear me good. Yeah, just the levels in OBS were suddenly showing lower. Algorithm, she's the doctor of a forge, better than the armorer. Yes, she's better than the armorer. If you guys didn't know, the armorer in The Mandalorian was played by Emily Swallow, which is the same actress who played the Darkness in Supernatural. Fun fact. Alright, alternate universe. Obviously magic is real with the way I'm heading. I'm thinking of doing a parody of Toy Story, where the action figures come to life. So yeah, I'm thinking the action figures come to life, the parody of Toy Story, and trying to figure out the fate part. Dash, parody of the typical fated hero versus dragon/tyrant. He becomes worse with his army of action figures. That would be funny. Fate, fated. So the blacksmith. Alright, I can go in that route. Like the blacksmith is the hands of fate. Where does the alternate universe come in then? Legatus, a babes in Toyland with an army of action figures at their beck and call. A babes. I'm not sure, maybe that was a typo or I'm missing something. This one, the idea that we have right now is going to be fairly short, which is fine by me with Dr. Rachel not feeling well. So we can have a prophecy in there, sure. The idea of fate. The alternate universe part is where I'm struggling a little bit. So yeah, if this were set in the past, 0 issues. We got it. Babes in Toyland is a 1961 American Christmas musical fantasy film. Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, I wasn't familiar with that then. Could make them babes. I'm totally fine making sexy action figure women. Legatus, 'tis a Disney film reference, darn it. You gotta catch up on your missing Disney films when Disney was making family-friendly films. Yes, I'm very lax on my live-action Disney especially. I have a few that I love, like Swiss Family Robinson from back in the day. Love that one growing up and stuff like that. But yeah, missing a ton. Babes in Toyland is one that I'm missing. So alternate universe. We've done alternate history and we've done Cthulhu type monsters for alternate universe. We need to expand the idea of alternate universe. What else can that include? So yeah, alternate history is an easy one. could do something silly like the Roman Empire never fell. Dash, alternate universe when primitive blacksmithing and alchemy replaced industry. Replaced it, huh? Alright, that's tying into fate. This is a parody of a lot of things, but what if history went forward as we know it until maybe the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, right? Maybe partway through the Industrial Revolution. And then, ancient entities, like what you were saying, dragons, a tyrant, some sort of mythological figure, came down and conquered mankind and pushed them back technologically to the industrial age and reintroduced magic into the world and stuff like that. But technology diminished, and while revisiting the roots of blacksmithing and stuff like that, someone found information about magic and was able to make it in this army of action figures to conquer this deity. Because maybe there's some fate and prophecy have to go in hand half the time. So the prophecy is those without flesh will conquer God or something like that. So like, no, the mind of man cannot stand against this being, whoever they are. And so only this action figure army is able to rise up and dethrone this entity. What do you guys think about that? It's making a parody of a lot of things. We get the blacksmith, we get the alternate history, we get fate, we get the action figures. I think everything gets into that story, and it's a fun little tale, I think. We just have to pick what the entity is. We could just call him Tyrant for easy's sake, because they don't name a lot of these characters that much. But how do you guys feel about that? Any changes you want to make? Any super chats that want to introduce a twist at this point? How are we feeling? If you guys are happy with that, I'll move forward with it. I just want to give you guys a second, or give a second for your YouTube chat to catch up. Dash is good with it. Alright. Algrim the Strong with the $10 super chat. Thank you, my friend. Saying name of the blacksmith will be Algrimus the Dun, meaning dark. Absolutely. We will make the name of the blacksmith Algrimus the Dun. Copying that right now to enter it in. And it sounds like you're okay with the plan as it stands right now. Your dog whining at the door. Thank you for the support, Algrim. Alright, so we'll call it Shadow. Ginger Norseman, I'm just thinking of the movie Tour Soldiers. Similar to that, I'm sure, too. I've been thinking of Indian in the Cupboard is the one that I've been thinking of. Not that that's politically correct anymore. Alcrim says, beautiful, beautiful. All right, let's go forward with it. All right, so, Shadow. A shadow has passed over the land, blotting out part of the sun, and suppressing the soul. Alright. Whoa, why did you prompt at the beginning? What was that? Alright, Algrimith. I didn't say to do that. I guess I'm just a wee bit retarded right now, chat. I got it figured out, though. Alchemist. The Dun is walking down the main street past the hollowed husk of type of factory would be a good one. For symmetry's sake, maybe a metal works factory. Once the beating heart of the town, now left hollowed and empty. Since the tyrant came, all industry and progress had halted. Some said the tyrant, this is really great exposition I'm doing here. Some say the tyrant came, was here before the dawn of mankind, but he certainly would be here to witness its end. Dash, there's a Stephen King story about a hitman getting attacked by a box of toy soldiers. I think it was made into a part of an anthology film, too. Okay. Alright, this is going to be a fairly short story, I think, so we'll be able to get on this. Calm down. He really doesn't like that she's not allowed in here. Alright, Forge. Alchemist the Dun enters his forge. Without industry, alchemy, smithing, millering. I don't know. I mean, I know what a miller is, but maybe millering isn't a description. Well, we'll call it a word for right now. Millering and other skills were in high demand. Alchemists didn't know why metal shaped to his will so easily, but it did. His ancestors were great smiths. Algrim, the next story must co-feature Gingerus, the hyperbolic Hyperborean. Very hyperbolic. That'll be funny. His ancestors were great smiths, but he never would have believed in inherited skill before now. The metal flowed with him, flowed from him as if it wanted to become. Calm down, Jesus. No. That's not gonna help. Like, it wanted to become what he wanted it to be. Working. Hooded figure comes in. Creepy. eventually offers a book to Algrimus. Says it belongs with a master smith of a line of master smiths. Disappears. Alright, plan. We'll call it plan. Book is ancient smithing magic, like rune work in swords. Doesn't believe it's real, but tests something anyway. Proves it. Cycles through spell work. Finds a method for turning metal men into soldiers. Lasts at their size, but falters as he thinks. I think I gotta add in that prophecy a moment before. Gonna add in the prophecy here. Asks too many pointed questions that aren't safe in this era of the tyrant. Tells of prophecy that only men without flesh or mind can conquer the tyrant and free the world. Yeah, this is a very, very simple prophecy. Prophecy. Overwhelmed with weight placed. I'm always an excellent speller. You guys know this about me. Top tier speller. Placed on his shoulders. He can make an army to defeat the tyrant. Bypassing his power over those of flesh. But he might fail and die. Decides to act. Building. For weeks, he builds the small metal men. Many people buy the toys. One of the few toys available. Spread throughout the land around the tyrant's castle. thousands made. Alright. Building attack. Yeah. This is going to be a 2-chapter story, I think. Alright, attack. Algrimus the Dun casts the spell from his book, awakening all the toys. They rise up and turn their empty gaze on the tyrant. Algrimus destroys the counter spell, so the tyrant can't force him to use it when he finds out. Magical defenses, well, just for action's sake. Magical defenses. Toys unaffected or stalwart through obstacles. Yes. I'm doing excellent with that. Alright, through obstacles makes their way to the tyrant. Assault his being. Mind games. Tyrant is losing the fight without his powers over flesh. He's nothing. Reaches out his mind to mankind to see who's causing the army to fight. Finds Algrimus and possesses him. Time I actually add that to my dictionary. Algrim. My better half is wondering who the heck Algrimus the Dun might be, and if he's a better catch. I don't know. He's a little busy right now, but we'll see how he does. And how he qualifies as a catch if he wins. Algrimus the Dun and possesses him. Mental war for control. The tyrant tries to make him reconstruct the counterspell once he's sure Algrimus the Dun doesn't remember it. Hands burning in the fires of the forge. Pain helps Algrimus fight. Distracts the tyrant long enough for the action figures to tear him apart. Tyrant killed. Relieved. With their work done, the toys freeze, waiting for their next instructions. Revolution. The Industrial Revolution is in full swing again. This is kind of an epilogue. In full swing again. All evidence of the tyrant and that terrible era destroyed. Except for the little metal men who help work the factories. Controlled by the master smith, who never forgets the craft that saved the world. Alright, I think that's a fairly decent story. I'm a fan of it. You know, it's not complicated, it's very straightforward, very much falls into the realm of parody of a lot of fate-driven stories and stuff like that, but it's an interesting concept with the toys rising up. I think that's pretty funny. So, I'm happy with it. Chat, are you happy with it? Anyone want to introduce any other twists? Algorithm, you've already purchased multiple twists, so anything you want me to change while you guys think about that? Just going over the story once again. It's about a blacksmith, Algrimus the Dun, who's living in the shadow of the tyrant. The tyrant is some ancient being who has come out of the annals of history to conquer mankind, destroying the Industrial Revolution and ceasing all progress. So Algrimus picks up the craft of his ancestors, becomes a blacksmith, trying to do his best. But one day, a mysterious wizard-like figure comes into his forge and gives him the prophecy. Only men not of flesh or mind can conquer the tyrant. He also gives Algrimus a spell book used by his ancestors and all master blacksmith. Amongst this spell work is a spell that can bring small metal men to life to do whatever you want them to do. So, Algrimus the Dun constructs an army of tiny metal men, distributing them around the world as toys, and when the moment is right, when he has enough, he casts the spell, turning this army's dead gaze upon the tyrant. The tyrant is overwhelmed, and in the last desperate act, he possesses Algrimus and tries to make him use the counterspell. Unfortunately for him, Algrimus has already destroyed the counterspell, and it becomes a battle of wills. Algrimus manages to distract him long enough for the physical form of the tyrant to be destroyed, freeing mankind from his influence. In the epilogue, the Industrial Revolution is well under the way. Once again, progress has resumed, and these little metal men are aiding mankind through this transitional period. I think it's a decent story. I'm very happy with it. Are you guys happy with it? I think we might let it rest there. Nothing as insane as last week. Last week was utterly bananas. It's still a fun story, but God, that story was wild. But I think we're gonna put the mark on that. Well done, good sir Redeemer. Alright, Algrove's happy with it, so I'm happy with it. And exactly at the 2-hour mark, perfect timing, that concludes the Chat Choose Your Own Adventure segment of this stream, and this stream as a whole. Dash said, the spell book could have once belonged to the smith who imbued Mjolnir with the power and will. Yes, could absolutely have a Norse origin. I like it. I like it a lot. Ginger Norseman, good story. Great. It sounds like you guys are happy with it, and I'm happy with it as well. Had a great fun little stream, but it's over now. We're going to have to bring this stream to an end. What I have coming up is, like I said, my wife is going to be out of town a lot this week, so I'm going to be streaming a lot of 007 in the evening, so stay tuned to that. I have a video coming out on Wednesday, another one like the last few Wednesday videos about science fiction writing. This one is about how to craft plausible alien biology. So if you're interested in that, tune in Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern for that video. Then, more 007 Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. Tryhards on Dermy Wormy's channel returns. I'm sure we'll have plenty of crazy things to talk about. It's always a hell of a lot of fun. And Saturday Night Drive-In will be at 7 p.m. this Saturday. And we're going to be talking about one of the greatest 00 stories, in my opinion, mainly nostalgia-driven, causing me to say that, but GoldenEye. We're going to be talking about GoldenEye. Then, of course, Rider Flight returns next Monday. Thank you all for joining and watching, whether or not it was on the YouTube side or the Kick side while it was active. It's great to have you all here. I appreciate it. Thanks to Legatus, Dash, Ginger Norseman, Dr. Rachel, and everybody else who was chatting or lurking. I greatly appreciate it. And special thanks to Algorithm the Strong for that $10 super chat. I always appreciate the support from all of you. I'll do a raid over to Horny Al for anybody else. I need to check to see who's live, but if nobody else is live, absolutely will raid over to Horny Al. But that's all that I have for today. If you enjoyed this stream, please consider liking, sharing, and subscribing. The more support this channel gets, the closer we are to publishing the Endless Frontier novels. Until then, have a stellar day and stay curious.